I'm live. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live, episode 203, I think. Yeah, maybe. We may be off. No, I think it's right. Episode 203. Welcome to episode 203 of Cliff Notes Live. Let me start off with the big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love reality TV. I love this time of year, even though Big Brother's not on. We got Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas, all kinds of stuff. Love this time of year. Love you guys that come out here every Monday evening with me as well. So thank you. I appreciate it. Those of you who are watching live, those of you who are watching on replay as well. Let me say again, I know I've said it before, but if you're watching on replay, you ever have any questions, shoot me a DM. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. You may be able to send it out here on YouTube. I'm not really sure how, but send me, if you got any burning questions, send them to me. I'll make sure we get to them the following week. For those of you who are out here, I'm looking at your comments. I will get to as many as I can, but I'm glad y'all are out here with me. Now, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, and maybe hitting that thumbs up while you're at it. A big old thumbs up. I'm all into the thumbs up this week. We got a big football game in a couple of weeks against our heated rivals, the A&M Aggies versus the Texas Longhorns. It's going to be incredible for the state of Texas. Yeah, it's going to be wild. I'm all about the thumbs up for the next couple of weeks, as though I'm not all the time. Anyway, I laugh every time I post for a picture with people after Big Brother, well, even before Big Brother, but afterwards. If you have a picture made with me, Wyatt, Garrett, some of the rest of y'all are out here watching, I always give a thumbs up. It's my heritage as an Aggie, I suppose. But welcome to all of y'all. Please consider subscribing and turning on notifications, thumbs up. Certainly appreciate it. All right, kind of an open night. Whatever questions y'all want to talk about. Yeah, we'll talk a little reality TV. Talk about a few shows I binged. Found a couple pretty good ones. So we'll talk about that. Let me see who out here is out here first. Kennedy Franklin, you're in here first. Kennedy, thank you. I hope you're doing fantastic, my friend. Karen Hummer, we'll talk about Thanksgiving in a second. Karen, Marilyn Sutherland, howdy, Marilyn. Mark Taylor as well. Carol Mosier, Karen Loveland. All right, let me go ahead and read this one. Just Karen says, "Hi Cliff, I'm in a local VA. I assume that's VA Medical Center with C. diff. Went to the ER on Saturday, was treated and released Sunday. They called me in for more testing as admitted. Ron's fine, but he worries about me." Well, of course he does. That's the job of Ron. That's the job of a partner. So, hey, I worry about you too. But no, I'm sure Ron is worried about you. Hopefully everything's going okay. It's probably get to the hospital and then just trying to get everything taken care of. You were in my thoughts and prayers, Karen. Let me know how you're doing. No fun being in the hospital. I hope you were out by Thanksgiving. It'll make for an extra special Thanksgiving, right? I'm thinking about you. All right, Lee Strack as well. Jake the Horror Movie Geek. Hey, Jake. Tim Cox, Michelle Moore. Let's see. Ma, how are you doing? Had fun doing your little Ma cast last week, so thank you for bringing me on. Marilyn Sonis, I think I got you, Marilyn, but we'll do it again. Desiree Watts as well. Hey, Desiree. All right, Ma, I see a lot of posts from you. Yeah, I was running a little behind, but I got a job to do too, and it's just a crazy week so far. Carol Mosier, Wyatt Garrett. Wyatt, howdy, sir. A big football game on. All right, let me say that real quick. The Houston Texans are playing the Dallas Cowboys right now. I think it's right now on TV. Please don't reveal the score. I'm recording it. I'll watch it a little bit later. I was going to go to the game. Just couldn't make it work being a Monday night and all that, but it's my Houston Texans, and I got a fantasy football team that's kind of relying on the Texans doing well also. So yeah, please don't give me the scores or anything of the game. I'll watch it later. Chaz as well. Colton's out there. Hey, Colton. Markeitha Nard. I hope I pronounced that right. I think I did. If not, let me know. Cindy, how are you, my friend? Kenty, Colton, let's see. Elaine Gleaser, Taylor Mangus. All right. I see some good questions. I'm going to get through here and then we'll come back to them. Marshall Davis. And I think we'll leave that. Oh, and Brian Hospital. Brian, how are you, my friend? I hope you're doing fantastic up there, Columbus way and all that. All right. Lots of y'all out here. So much fun when I see these names every week, especially you get a busy week. I have off pour down rain today. I do a lot of sales. I do a lot of visiting with a whole lot of different clients out there in the rain today, just getting rained on. Of course, Sharon said, "Oh, why don't you take an umbrella with you?" And me being the stubborn person, I said, "Yeah, I don't need an umbrella." I got done. You would have thought I would have done one of the challenges on Big Brother, Survivor, something, just drenched to the core. Try not to look like a wet rat when I go in and see some of these folks. But yeah, it was raining. Think it was a hurricane the way it was going on. So yeah, I paid the price. At least it's not cold yet down here. But yeah, I'd like to say I'll listen to Sharon next time, but nah, I've always been stubborn. I probably always will be. But yeah, we've got the bad weather coming now. Hopefully by the time Thanksgiving gets here, football weather, it'll be perfect. It'll be fantastic. All right, few questions that we'll get into. And again, kind of an open night. So y'all just throw away. Let me know what y'all are thinking. We'll talk about all kinds of stuff this evening. All right, Karen Hummer, what are you and Sharon doing for Thanksgiving? It's kind of, I don't want to bring the mood down, so I'll just go over. First Thanksgiving at my mom, so it's a little bit different because we always did Thanksgiving at my mom's house. Now, here's the way it always worked. We've got, while I was growing up, all the brothers, all married wives, and then we had kids and everything. My parents eventually said, look, we don't want to have to fight to try to get y'all on Thanksgiving every day, so instead, y'all do Thanksgiving with the other families. Do whoever you need to see on Thursday. We don't care. Go do that. But then come to our house on Friday, and we will do Thanksgiving either Friday or Saturday, depending on what's going on. But you take the real holiday, and we want the day or two after. And it always works so well. It was fantastic. Well, now with my mom being gone, it's going to be a little different. So I think what we're going to do is we will celebrate. Just Sharon and I will celebrate here in Houston. Celebrate a Thanksgiving. A lot to be thankful for. We all have a lot to be thankful for. So we will we'll celebrate kids and family and living life and all kinds of things. And we'll do that on the real day. Then come Friday morning, maybe even Thursday night, we'll head up to Dallas-Fort Worth area, stay at my mom's house, and now the whole family is coming over to her house to just start handling stuff, looking through photos. Well, we're going to be doing some reminiscing this weekend, looking at a bunch of old photos and things like that. So it's going to be a different kind of Thanksgiving. But again, we've all got a lot to be thankful for. Every day you walk this earth, you got something to be thankful for. So we'll be doing that. So yeah, we'll be here, and then we'll be up in Dallas a little bit. And then there may be a little football game on Saturday the 30th. As I mentioned, the Aggies and the Longhorns. It's going to be crazy. Absolutely crazy. First time they've played in, I don't know, 12 years or something. The game's going to be at A&M. They had the ticket draw today. The students went crazy. They've been camped out since Saturday. They had thousands and thousands all showing up in tents and trying to get tickets. Tickets are already all gone. It was just a madhouse. I did that as a student when I was at A&M. They won the Southwest Conference. They went and played in the Cotton Bowl for the first time in a long time. We camped out for tickets. It was so much fun. Like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, Jackie Sherrill, the coach at the time, showed up, brought, I don't know, 500 donuts for as many people in line as they could feed. And the band showed up and played. And it was just, I remember, you go to school for an education, right? But there's other things that you enjoy as well. I'll always remember that time back then. So yeah, so we will do that. And it's going to be fun. So yeah, that's my Thanksgiving. Celebrate some Thanksgiving, do some stuff at my mom's house, and then finish it off with hopefully one heck of a football game. All right, Mark Taylor, are you following the summit? Who is your favorite to win it all? And Michelle Moore saying, I want Taryn or Dusty to win the summit. I'm okay. Can I kind of make a little confession here about the summit? Now, I am completely caught up. I've watched every bit of it. I know who Dusty is, but for the most part, I don't really know the names of these people that well. And I don't know why that's not the case. Big Brother, one weekend, I know everything about these people. The summit, maybe it's just because it's a 1-hour show once a week. And even more so than Survivor, I just don't focus on their names. It doesn't really matter that much. I'm continually talking to Sharon saying, oh, the older lady or the Asian guy. Yeah, I don't always know the names while we're watching the show. So I can't really tell you. And I don't know they even care so much about who wins. I'm not really emotionally invested in the players themselves. I'm more invested in every week seeing how they ramp up the challenge just a little bit more. Lord, they're getting up in the snow line and all that. They're pretty soon they're going to be using ice picks and I don't know, climbing glaciers. Who knows? Who knows what that. I think it'd be fun if when they got to the very top, you're 20 foot from the top or something, and that old freaking helicopter that keeps bothering these folks just shows up and they just have a bullhorn and says, yeah, at this point, whoever gets to the top and can stay up there without getting pulled off for 10 minutes straight wins all the money or something. And just play a literal king of the mountain, a literal king of the mountain. Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure some people may not appreciate that. I could get pretty cutthroat. Lord, I think you could fall a long way looking at that summit as well. I've enjoyed the show. Is it as much strategy as, I don't know. Yes, there is strategy. I don't think there's been the huge drastic twist that we saw. Deal or No Deal Island, I didn't expect any strategy, and we had a lot. This one, we started off with a lot more strategy. Now it's just kind of, I don't know. You know what I would do differently on this? I don't like the way they vote people off at the end, where you nominate people out in the open, then you vote for them. I feel like once you nominate someone, once you get one or two, everyone gets quiet and there's not that much that goes on. I think there's some different way that you could have nominations and voting that would make it a little more suspenseful and maybe make people perhaps be willing to betray a little bit more than they do. So I don't know. As far as who I want to win, I don't care. I just want to have to climb up. I want them to be like K2 or Everest at the end, where they're holding a flag up there saying, "Oh God, yeah, I just won $800,000, but how do I get off this mountain?" You reach a point where the helicopters can't go any higher. Surely there's some way they're probably going to get to the very top. And when they get there, they're going to say, "Oh yeah, this is a famous tourist attraction. Y'all came up the hard way. Here on the other side, there's stairs. Just walk down or there's an escalator. Yeah, we powered this thing a couple of years ago. Just take the escalator down and you'll be fine." It'll take them like 20 minutes to get to the bottom. Sorry, if you got 800,000, still be worth it. But yeah, I don't know who's going to win or who I want to win. I just want to see the challenge continue to get worse and worse for the next couple of weeks, and then we'll call it good. It's been a good little relief without having Big Brother on. All right, Carol Mosier. Why didn't you have Sharon on one of your shows? I bet she'll have some good stories to tell us. Oh, she would have some great stories to tell y'all. Every relationship, you've got people that complement each other well. And sometimes that's because you think alike, you have the same opinions, and you get each other, right? But in some parts of marriage and relationships, it pays off to have two people who are yin and yang, who are a little bit different in their outlook on life. And that's what makes the world go around. Two pieces, Jack Sprat would eat no fat and his wife would eat no lean, or what? You remember the old nursery rhyme? There's actually something to that. So that's our yin and yang. I'm willing to get out there, embarrass myself in front of millions of people on CBS TV and do all kinds of goofy stuff. Ask me to twerk on TV, I'll twerk. I tried. I don't think it counts, but because it was horrible, but I'll do whatever because I'm just kind of whatever. Try me. Sharon's just the opposite. Sharon's a little bit more reserved. Sharon could tell you lots of stories, but Sharon is perfectly comfortable working in the background. She gives me so much help in these shows. I try to read the comments and I try to keep up, but I really couldn't do it without Sharon. She posts up reminders for me and tries to grab questions as best as she can. And I start getting into these stories, right? Y'all have heard me a few times where I just talk. And she'll start saying, "It's enough. Move on to something else." So, yes, I would love to get Sharon on here. Y'all keep asking a question, and maybe eventually we'll get her on here. But it ain't gonna be tonight. We'll see. I think it'd be fun. I had my kids on here once. I could probably do that again. I had my brother Bowie on here. But yeah, Sharon's happy sitting there being the managing director of Cliff Notes Live, and she does a heck of a job doing it. All right, Markeitha Nard. I like that name. I just hope I'm pronouncing it right. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Well, thank you, Markeitha. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a long year. It's been the down moments in life make the up moments so much more valuable. I'm an eternal optimist. My kids I used to drive them crazy because they'd call with bad news. I'd say, "Look, are you healthy? Are you alive?" They'd say, "Yeah." I say, "Well, whatever else we'll deal with it. You had, I don't know, you had a wreck. I don't know, someone threw, I don't know, whatever. Whatever happened, as long as you're healthy, you're okay. We'll work around it. We'll make it happen." So I tend to be the optimist, and certainly with Thanksgiving, I think about that. Today, I was talking about A&M stuff. and I certainly don't want to dwell on this, but 25 years ago, bonfire fell. A&M used to build, they still do it off campus, but they used to build a huge, like a 60-foot tall bonfire. All the students came in together, built this thing, and it represented our everlasting desire to beat the hell out of TU, which is what we called Texas Longhorns. And it was a huge bonfire, a big, big event. Well, unfortunately, in 1999, the ground shifted, bonfire fell, killed 12 students. Horrible. It's just the most tragic. I wept then, I weep now over it. It's a horrible loss of life, horrific. 25 years ago, and these are students out of the prime of life, so much future ahead of them. And so I think about that even tonight as I do the show, and I talk about a generation of Aggies who are getting ready for this game who weren't even alive back then. But it just reminds me, always be thankful for what you got. And so yeah, that's probably going into more detail than you want, Marquita, but happy Thanksgiving to you. We'll certainly be celebrating all the good, not just for us, the good in the world, the good in life. There's a lot of bad, but I always am going to believe that it's outweighed by the good that we get in this world. All right, Colton is saying, did you hear about Survivor's split finale? I saw that. It's like 2 hours and 2 hours. So yeah, it's a lot. Now, yeah, they get 4 hours for their finale. Meanwhile, we and Big Brother had like an hour to show what happens, to do a pitch, a speech that lasts like a minute and a half or so, to have everyone vote, have the reunion show, everything all squeezed in together. I wish Big Brother would do something similar. As much content as CBS gets out of us, 13 weeks, 3 episodes a week, you could give us a couple hours at the end, right? I mean, it seems... I don't know why they don't do it. It just seems like you could do that and have people paying attention to it, but they don't. I think you could cut the season back an entire week and just make a couple hour finale and everyone be perfectly happy, but they don't. But yes, I did see that. It's going to be I saw a little thing with with Jeff Probst hanging from a cliff, said it's going to be a true cliffhanger. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to play out. You know, will they stop right before the fire making challenge, or I don't know, but that's cool. I like hearing that. These players deserve to get a little more content at the end. Now, I did see someone that said that as much as it sounds like they're getting more content, when you think about it, they're really getting like 30 minutes less for the final 6 onwards than you do in a normal season. Could be. I don't know. There's plenty of ways they can trim the fat. You know, in the early seasons of Survivor, they used to walk up on the mountain and they would walk by each person's name and they talk about them, and kind of reminiscing episode and all that. I'm glad they got rid of that. They could get rid of that for Big Brother as well, and I'd be perfectly fine. I guess I ought to watch mine and see what they said about me. I've never actually seen that episode where they reminisce about me, but yeah, you don't need that. Just move on with what's actually going on. But yeah, it's gonna be all Survivor here coming up here pretty quick. It's been a fast season. I have enjoyed Survivor though. It's been a fantastic season. It's great players. All right, Mark Taylor saying, what's your opinion of Survivor so far? Who's your favorite? All right, spoiler alert, just in case you're not caught up, and there could be some people out there. We lost my favorite. What did we lose my favorite? Saul was definitely one of the people I was cheering for. I hated to see him go, but maybe, I don't know. He seems to have a lot of fan base, so I am very much looking forward to meeting him at some event in the very near future. I'd love to just shoot the bull with him and see what's going on with him, but we lost Saul. Who's left? Andy is like the big thing just to screw everything. I feel like Andy's going to be he's just going to be the one that brings the chaos. Who's left that maybe are my favorites? Sam and Sue, maybe. But that's kind of giving short shrift to Rachel, and is it Gretchen? I said this last time. There's like 3 of the ladies that I think are playing a very similar game, and I feel like I continually confuse them. But I'll kind of go with Sam and Sue. Perhaps I'm going to cheer for Sue just because no one would have guessed her winning this thing at the end or getting as far as she's done. I'd love to see Sue in a fire making challenge. I'd love to see her making a final 2 or final 3 pitch, I guess, for Survivor. To the house guest and the house guest, to the tribe mates, the castaways, and see what they say. I'm trying to think, is there anyone left on this island that I just say, this person does not deserve to make it to the end? And I don't think so. At one point I would have said that was Andy, Not anymore. He's done enough. He's brought enough to the game. Whether he did it on purpose or he just kind of stumbled his way into certain positions, and I do think there's a little bit of both. It doesn't matter. I'm fine with him winning. I'm fine with any of them winning. It's been a good season. I think the twists so far have been good, but not overwhelming, except for the one twist I haven't liked is the one that Saul found while they're eating, and he saved, was it Rachel? He saved, God, I can't remember. Protecting her, I just thought was a little too much power. But it is what it is. Gabe. Gabe could be another one that maybe he wasn't my favorite at the very beginning, but I think he's doing a better job since the merge. We'll see how he plays. He and Sue are together, right? In terms of kind of working together. I think so. That could be a dynamic duo. I could see them carrying this game here pretty quick. We'll see. But yeah, I've had fun with it. God, we're going to lose Survivor here pretty quick. We've got no reindeer games. We've got no Celebrity Big Brother. Yeah, be out there finding me some Australian or UK reality TV or something. Heck, I may even get to the point where I'm gonna have to start watching Love Island or something. I got a lot of episodes, a lot of seasons of The Circle to get caught up on as well. So maybe I'll do some of that. All right, Taylor Mangus. Hey, Taylor. Is saying, what is your favorite Thanksgiving food? Mine is cranberry sauce, but only out of the can. Well, yeah, you got to get the good stuff, right? I mean, I didn't know cranberries came anyway, except in the can. And I knew I'm not a huge cranberry fan. Never have been. I mean, it's not bad. I just don't go out of my habit. My favorite Thanksgiving food, it's got to be the macaroni and cheese, right? I'm the macaroni and cheese king. Definitely, it's not Thanksgiving without the mac and cheese. What else do I really tie into Thanksgiving? Yeah, you got turkey and things like that. But as far as side dishes for us, macaroni and cheese, broccoli and cheese casserole is always good. Got to have the yeast rolls. I eat way too many of those. I'm like the guy at Red Lobster eating those cheddar biscuits. I can't get enough of those things. Lots of rolls, mac and cheese, broccoli and cheese. Probably about the only time that I really like it, but it's just because it makes me think of Thanksgiving, is the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows on top, all melted on top. I eat a lot of those as well. I do. Is there anything I'm leaving out? Probably a little bit, but no, and then all kinds of desserts. But no, it's mac and cheese. And it's got to be the right kind. It can't be the Kraft with the little noodles. It's got to be the thick noodles that are loaded up with extra cream, and not the artificial yellow color or anything else, but just creamy, and the kind when you dip your spoon into and you lift it up, you just see the cheese just pulling away, the strands of cheese hanging onto it. I kind of like it after it's cooked and set there for a while and started cooling off a little bit and solidifying a little bit. And yeah, Thanksgiving's going to be good. Good for me. But here's the beauty about the way we always did Thanksgiving as well. Sharon and I, even more so when we had the kids still at the house and all of that, we'd have a Thanksgiving dinner here. We'd have all the leftovers. We'd leave them in the fridge. We'd go up to my parents' house. We'd have Thanksgiving there, all new meals, have all of that, have leftovers up there all weekend long, come back on a Sunday night. And then we had another week worth of leftovers here at the house from our original Thanksgiving. So yeah, we've had a few seasons where for different reasons, we had 2 or 3 Thanksgivings, just one day after another. So yeah, I do a little eating on Thanksgiving. I do a lot of little eating all the time, it seems like. All right, Karen Loveland saying, I didn't care for turkey. I prefer ham. I'm right there with you. And with Big Brother, I took a screenshot of all the players. I'd refer to it often to learn the players' names. Yeah, and I do that for Big Brother, and I probably should. When I was covering Survivor as part of YouTube and all that, like during COVID, when a little more time, I would do the same thing. Same thing with Amazing Race and others. You really have to have a scorecard, so to speak. I laughed Julie Chen during her, was it during her God 101? I don't know. Some little extra message that she was leaving during the Big Brother season. She was in the dressing room and talking to us, and you could see on her dressing room mirror behind her a little sheet that had all the house guests and their names next to it. And I laughed because you think of Julie Chen, she knows all of these house guests so well. No, maybe not so much. She had to make sure that she had the right names all the time as well. I'd like to think during my season that was probably the case for the first few weeks, but she probably figured out eventually. But I can see her not wanting to screw up and say the wrong name. People would make fun of that forever. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But get a sheet of paper printed out. It's the best way to do it. For the summit, I just don't care. I mean, I just don't really care who wins. But you're right. I call it old age. Sometimes I remember better than others. Depends on how emotionally invested I am in the players themselves. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Ma, you have to watch the Philadelphia Thanksgiving parade. I'm going to be in it. Oh, all right. Well, now I am. I assume we can get it down here. Is it the Mummers Parade or is that something else? I always think of Mummers when I think of Philadelphia. Could be wrong, but yeah. All right, Ma. Well, I'm gonna have to be watching now. So yeah, you got one more fan count +1 on the Nielsen ratings for the Philadelphia Thanksgiving parade. I don't think I was ever in a parade. My daughter, and I think my son too. They were both in a couple of parades here in Houston when he played football and she was doing drill team and all that, and they would come through and do their stuff and all. It's always a lot of fun. But yeah, all right, Ma. You sold me. Didn't take much. I'll be watching that. That'll be fun. Let's see, what else do we have on here? Ma saying your background is nostalgic. All right, I just kind of in a hurry. This is actually from the Dixie Chicken because A&M playing football and all of that. The Dixie Chicken's going to be packed. It's the local bar for A&M. All the students go to. Yeah, I'll just lean over. The whole bar is like this. It's all neon and old nostalgic pictures and everything else. And are you talking about this background? Or are you talking about the reminder I put out there? Either one. Here's a Dixie Chicken. The reminder I put out on my Instagram reminder and for the StreamYard kind of invitation is Steamboat Willie. Happy birthday, Mickey Mouse. I think he was 1923. Could be wrong on that. I don't think so. So like 101 years old today, Steamboat Willie. Apparently, not only was he the first cartoon, or it was the first cartoon that had sound that went along with it, that was synchronized sound. So when he talked, you saw him talking and all that. Premiered at the Colony Theater in New York. No, I don't know why I remember that. I just, but yeah, Steamboat Willie. Who would have thought from way back then to now these behemoths that you've got of Disney World, Disneyland, all the Disney movies and all of that. It's phenomenal. Who would have thought Walt Disney when he started off that just animating a little mouse would lead to where it was. But yeah, so happy birthday, Mickey Mouse. Yeah. Entertained a lot of people over the years. All right, let's see. Taylor Mangus is saying, isn't that where Tyson fight was? All right. Oh, and Hunter Green. I will get to that. Hunter Green. AT&T Stadium was a piece of the roof fell to the ground. Oh, I did not see that. Hunter had a piece fall to the ground. And then Taylor saying, isn't that where the Tyson fight was? Yes, it was. I watched that Friday night. I tried to. Yeah, I tried to watch it early in the telecast. No problem at all. It was, the telecast is going fine. All of a sudden, it kept freezing on me. And then later I find out it's freezing on everybody. And what a screw up from Netflix. They weren't prepared for that many people to come out there and watch it. I did eventually get a good feed and watched Tyson and Jake Paul fight. Being old school the way I am, I actually was cheering for Mike Tyson. I wanted to see the old guy come back and do something. He looked good for the first round or two, and then I think he just was tired out. I was gonna say he fought the way I would fight. No, he fought the way I would fight after about the first 15 seconds of the first round. I think I could go out there. There's a Toby Keith song. I'm not as good as I once was, but once I'm as good as I ever was. I feel like I'm the same way. For 15 seconds, boy, I would get out there and I would lay into my opponent. I would hammer him with the punches and all of that. But after about 15 seconds, I'd have to back up and I'd look like Rocky after running 5 miles and running up the steps of the state capitol. I'd be exhausted. Yeah, you'd have to have 15-second rounds for me. But yeah, I was not as impressed with that fight. The fight that I was impressed with was the two women who fought right before. And I can't remember her name, Amy Taylor and someone else. God, they got into it. They walloped on each other. I'm a huge fan of Rocky. The fight scenes in the first one just cheer me up. Every time I see it, I start smiling, getting excited when you hear the music and all. I felt like that watching these two women boxing. They deserve all the accolades they got. Now, Sharon wouldn't watch it. Sharon's not a fan of boxing of any form, but especially two women boxing each other. Just not her cup of tea. So I watched that alone. But yeah, I didn't know about a piece of the roof falling. Well, Jerry Jones has got a lot of money. We don't need to be having old Jerry World falling apart. That's where they're playing the football game tonight. So I hope they got the duct tape out and fixed what they need to fix on the old stadium. It's not that old, not yet, but it's probably Jerry Jones who's pushing to get a new stadium because, it is, 10 years? I think it's older than that. They probably do want a new stadium there. They've already got 3 or 4 of them. They're talking here in Houston. It's only been 20-something years, and they're still talking about what to do with the Astrodome, which was the new football stadium for the Texans, was built right next to the Astrodome. We're all saying, tear it down. It's old. It's a nice store, but there's people here who think it's a landmark, and they want to keep it up, and it costs us millions of dollars a year to maintain it. Just tear it down. But now they've got a whole new plan. They're going to put hotels and all kinds of stuff in. Now, we'll see. Y'all don't care about Houston politics, but that's what's going on here. But yeah, the roof starts falling. Put the dynamite in and call it good. Turn it into a parking lot. Heck, everything else in Houston's a parking lot. Why not one more? All right, let's see what else we got on here. Chaz, what do you think of Sam blowing up Rachel's spot to Saul right after she told him that Saul was going on? Yeah, I was a little surprised to see that. I mean, I guess short term, maybe it made sense, but you got to figure long term, it's going to burn your game, right? I mean, how is she ever going to trust him with anything going forward? I don't know. I was a little surprised to see that. I always worried about that in the Big Brother house. If I gave anyone information that was too concrete that could get pulled back to me, you'd pay the price. I mean, look at Nicole from my season when she told Bella and Nick that that the other people were saying they were bullies and and just that they were on the outs and all of that. Well, then they turned on Nicole and he just really burned her game. Almost cost me my game as well. I always worried about that. So when I talk to Christy or when I talk to Mickey, I would try to avoid saying things in certain terms. It's always like, well, it seems like she's saying there. She kind of mentioned this, but I don't know. And I tried to ride the line a little bit. And I feel like they could have done that on Survivor as well. Don't just come right out and tell Saul that way. Just say, hey, the buzz I'm getting is that maybe, but no one told me. I'm just kind of, I feel like you could have hinted around and gotten the same output without burning your game the way you did. But who knows? It's so hard to tell though when you only get an hour of what went on out there. We don't know what else was going on. It's just tough to always understand, which is why I never am going to criticize these reality TV folks too much, because I understand that we don't always see everything that we need to see. Big Brother a little more than the others, but still, there could have been other conversations that led to it. But yeah, I thought that was a little probably short-term thinking and not necessarily long-term. We'll see if it comes back and causes issues. I think it probably could, but make it a little more interesting as well. You've got all these people on Survivor feel like they've got to make this big move, and now you got an excuse for some people to be stabbing each other in the back, right? That they thought were loyal to each other. So we'll see how that all plays out. All right, Hunter Green again. Hunter saying Landman was good for the first 2 episodes. Yeah, let's talk about that. I binged a couple of shows. Well, I watched a couple of shows. I watched The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling, kind of a homage to Lee Majors and the Fall Guy TV show. I don't know if that was a movie once upon a time, but kind of homage to the stuntmen of the world and all that. It was good. A lot of action, a lot of chases and all that. A little over the top. It was good. I'm not going to walk away saying Academy Award or anything. It was, it's just a little quick little pick-me-up kind of thing. It was a romance with a lot of action thrown in as well, but they didn't take it too seriously. And then we watched last night the first 2 episodes of Landman. It's on Paramount Plus if y'all still have subscriptions to that. If not, it's on CMT. I think they probably censored out quite a bit on CMT because I didn't realize it's a very risque show. Not a lot of nudity or anything else. It's not that kind of risque, but just a lot of the language is and the innuendo. Well, not so much innuendo. Straight up in your face conversations were pretty less than family friendly, right? So do not watch this with your preteen kids and all that. It's certainly a drama, But for those of you who don't know, Landman, Billy Bob Thornton, he plays a landman. In the oil field, the landman's the guy who goes out and convinces people to sell him the mineral rights on behalf of the company he's working for so they can drill for oil. Here in Texas, at least, one person can own the land, someone else can own the mineral rights that are underneath where all the oil and gas is. And so he has to go out and find out who owns the underground part and buy it from them, because an oil company doesn't want to drill a well if they just own one little section, because then someone else will drill right next to them and I drink your milkshake. They'll suck up all the oil. So they go out and buy these huge spreads, and only after they've bought them, then do they start drilling. So that's what a landman does. But in this show, he does a lot more than that. He's like this oil company's supervisor. He controls the crews. He's out there investigating. He's dealing with all the issues that this little oil company's having. You really don't have one person who does both of those jobs the way they do. But other than that, incredibly accurate. When I first got out of school, A&M, I went to work because the price of oil was only $13 a barrel. We were in the middle of a big war with Russia. They drove down the price of oil to try to bankrupt Russia. It worked. That's what ended the Cold War, but not great for a boss hog trying to get a job in the oil industry. So I worked as a roughneck on these rigs, and so much of what they showed was so true to life. When you first get out on a rig, you're brand new. They call you a worm. They make you wear a green hard hat so that everyone knows that you're a worm, which means that don't trust him with anything. Don't assume he's going to know what's going on or do the right thing. Just assume he knows nothing. And for the most part, you do know nothing. I was a worm. I worked on it as a roughneck. They brought me out on the first day I was put on a crew. I was the only guy who spoke English. Not only that, I was the only guy, not just with a college degree, I was the only guy with a high school degree, right? I mean, I was put on a rig of a lot of people who were hard worker, blue collar kind of guys, and man, they busted their rear ends, and they brought me on. I really had to prove myself to them, which was not easy, but they did things. They were all of Hispanic descent. They would bring lunch out and say, "Hey, Cliff, you're eating with us." Okay, well, gosh, that's really kind of y'all. Thank you so much. They would give me tacos and burritos that were loaded up with the spiciest, hottest possible peppers you could imagine. For snacks at break time, they would eat jalapenos. I was like, well, I've had jalapenos and nachos. Yeah, sure, no problem. Pickled. These were the raw ones. They gave one to me and I ate it. And of course, my mouth just blew up with fire. And so I'm drinking a 2-liter bottle of water, trying to cool it down. They thought that was great. They do all kinds of pranks to the new guy all the time. At one point, and they show some of this taking place in the show where they're making guys crawl all the way up to the top of the rig looking for valves, and there's no such thing. In my case, they did things like we wore gloves. Before I put my gloves on, they went and took pipe dope, which is this like little black grease they used to make up all the tubing. They put little balls of pipe dope in each of the fingers of my gloves. So I put my gloves on to protect my hands. I'm working all morning long, protecting my hands. When it's time for lunch, I take my gloves off. My hands are just black all the way up and down. And it's greasy. It's almost impossible to get off. So they're all eating my sandwiches, and I can barely touch anything because I've got this pipe dope everywhere. After my first day, because I was working, I didn't even have a place to live in this little small town I was at. So my mom came out to help me find a place. So she did some apartment hunting, because a tiny little town of 3,000 people. Did some real quick apartment hunting while I was out on my first day. We got done with the job, went back to the yard where the rigs were. They just dropped me off. We got done. I did not have a car to get home. So I just started walking towards the center of town. This is before cell phones and all of that. I thought, surely if I there's only like one stoplight, one traffic light in this whole town. If I get there at that intersection, eventually my mom's going to pass by and she'll see me. So sure enough, I get to that intersection. She comes by. She keeps on going. She did not even stop because I was so covered in oil and grease and grime. She didn't know it was me. That was how filthy I was on that first day. And it didn't get any better. I've never worked so hard in my life. We had a lot of fun there. And I'll tell y'all some pranks later. I don't know if we've got a lot of time to do it this evening. I may do that over the next few weeks, give you some oil field pranks, because we had some fun ones. Oh my gosh, I've never laughed more in my life. I've never bonded more in my life than I did with some of these guys. I also developed an incredibly healthy respect for the advantages that an education can bring you. Because these guys, I knew I was only going to be out there for a few years and then I'd move on to some other stuff. These guys who are looking at doing this for the next 40 years or so, it's tough work. It is the hardest work I've ever done in my life. Old Jackson Mickey on my season of Survivor, he had those big old muscles on. He had show muscles, right? Yeah, you just work out so you can show off your muscles. I had working man muscles when I was that age, and I had some pretty good muscles back then. So yeah, I'll tell y'all some oil field stories coming out. But yes, the Landman did a fantastic job about recreating a lot of what goes on in the oil field. Now, some of it's over the top. It's a drama, right? So they kind of take some of the characters and they bump them up a little more than they need to. But Billy Bob Thornton plays a guy who I ran into half a dozen that were exactly like this guy in the oil field, who were every bit as just cantankerous old coots that were always in a bad mood, always griping about life. But as long as you didn't cross them, they'd watch out for you too. You just had to make sure that you and them were always on the same side together, because otherwise they could make your day miserable. I loved watching the show. If you have not watched it, check out the Landman. And I'm not getting any kind of endorsement or anything. It was fantastic. But again, don't watch it with your kids, because it is a little risque, a lot risque, but it was good. And they show college. They show high school football. Might as well be college football for the way they treat it out in West Texas. All takes place in Midland, Texas, which is where I worked for a long part of my career. They did a good job of showing it all. I really love that show. Made me think a lot about when I first started working in the oil field and some of those stories. So yeah, check it out. Let me know what y'all think. I really want to know what y'all think about the show as well. All right, let's see. Jake the Horror Movie Geek saying, what's your favorite dessert to eat on Thanksgiving? My wife Sharon does banana split cake, which is just perfect. Really good. Growing up as a kid, it was probably chocolate cake with the not meringue. I'm not a huge fan of meringue. Chocolate cake with just the whipped cream on top of it. I could eat a whole heck of a lot of that. We called it the pink stuff and the green stuff, which I don't know what it was, almond and whatever pudding, but lots and lots of pecan pie. And it's pecan, not pecan or anything. It's pecan pie. And I love me some pecan pie, but I'll take Sharon's banana split cake any day of the week. I don't know, what is it, Sharon? Graham cracker fillings and cherries and pineapples. It's good. Maybe I do a little YouTube channel. I saw they've got the worst cooks of America, and there's a few Big Brother folks on there. Rachel Riley's going to be on there. I think Frankie Grande is going to be on there. I'd like to think I'm not quite to that level of being the worst cook. May not be the best either, but with Sharon's help, I maybe could do, I don't know, maybe I'll make some Thanksgiving specialties here and there and do them the real way. And then maybe at the end of every episode, I'll turn it into Ninja ice cream and do some ice cream flavors of it too. I don't know. We'll see. We did watch, we've had a lot of fun watching the Harry Potter baking show. You know, they have all these baking shows on the food channels where they make sense. It's just phenomenal. Some of these bakers, we're watching ones where they're doing everything to look like Harry Potter world. And we saw one where the patroness of the horse or the unicorn or whatever. And they do some incredible stuff. Yeah, it was all rainy all weekend. So between college football and binge watching a few shows, we spent some time in front of the TV. All right, let's see. Chaz is saying, with the still kind of feeling that they're on the bottom, do you see a path for Sam or Rachel to win this season? Yeah, because in Survivor, I feel like if you stand out too much on the positive side, you can gather a lot of the people. It's not like Big Brother where one person decides who's nominated. And so much depends on who that person is winning those competitions. With Survivor, yeah, you can win immunity, which protects you. But other than that, you're always having to watch out for everyone else on that island. And so, yeah, I could see a Sam and Rachel and maybe one or two others going after. I'm amazed that Kyle is still there. As many comps as he has won, I thought as soon as he lost one, they yank him, get a rope. But they didn't. But I could see people ganging up. And as you gang up to take out some of the more connected people, it may give you an opportunity to bond with those people a little bit more. Rachel, yes. Sam, I don't know. I think people think he has too good a connection with too many people. and they're going to fear that if it gets in front of a jury. So as much as I'd be okay with Sam winning, I think people are going to be nervous about taking him too far forward. Rachel, they should be every bit as afraid, but I just feel like maybe she's going to be more convincing people that she's not going to represent a threat. So yeah, I think they could, especially Rachel. We'll see with Sam, but yeah, just because Survivor's a little different in the way they step up every week, I see this possibility. We shall see, right? All right. Cindy Hire saying, just watched the new movie with Demi Moore called The Substance. I haven't heard that one. I'll have to check it out. I'm still a huge Demi Moore fan. I grew up during the Demi Moore years. She started off as what was her name? She was on General Hospital. Jackie Templeton. She played a reporter, Jackie Templeton, on General Hospital soap opera. And then she did all the Brat Pack stuff with, St. Elmo's Fire and all those kind of things. But she's actually in the Landman. When you first saw that, Cindy, I thought you were talking about the Landman. But yeah, she plays a character in Landman as well. So she hadn't had a huge presence just yet. But once she gets out to Midland, I'm sure things will change a little bit. This got a lot of people. It's got John Hamm in there, Demi Moore, Billy Bob Thornton. So one or two people that I thought were going to last a little bit longer, and I don't want to spoil it, but people who kind of said adios a little quicker than I thought. So, but now there's some good actors in this show, so it's going to be good. All right. Chaz is saying, what do you think of Dr. Will being on Deal or No Deal Island? I think it's natural. I mean, he's considered an icon of Big Brother, right? You had the icon, one of the icons of Survivor in Boston Rob. So yeah, I'm glad they're going to Big Brother to pull someone as well. Would I have personally gotten Dr. Will? Yeah, maybe not. I'm a little surprised that he was willing to do it. I wonder how much they paid him for his appearance fee or whatever. I would have potentially got someone a little later in Big Brother life, Derek, or all the ones we've always heard about, Derek or Dan, or maybe Cody or something. I don't know. Or Rachel. Why restrict it to the guy? That's pretty stereotypical. Me, I get Rachel Riley on there. She likes to do a lot of reality shows, right? I think she would have been great in Deal or No Deal Island. I would have loved to have watched Rachel play in Deal or No Deal, but yeah, I'm fine with it. I'll be cheering him on. I want to see how he handles this, because I did not ever see Dr. Will's season, so I really can't be a judge of how he plays the games. I just feel like the game of Big Brother and a lot of other reality TV has evolved drastically from the early 2000s to the way it's played now. And I just want to see if does Dr. Will still have game, or has he just been kind of posturing for the last decade or so? I guess we'll find out. And I guess I hope he surprises me, because I'm not expecting as much as maybe I did with Boston Rob. We'll see. I will say I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm looking forward to season 2 and seeing how it works. Boston Rob, I can't remember that guy's name, the kind of little mousy kid that he took on, and they were best buds, and are they going to turn on each other, or are they going to stay buddies and all that? I want to see if Dr. Will does something similar. Pull in someone that maybe you wouldn't expect him to align with and work it. I hope Boogie's not in there with him. That may be a little too much Big Brother, but yeah, we'll see how he does on it. It's going to be fun. All right, let's see. What else? Colleen said I was watching when she first started on General Hospital with the storyline with Luke. See, I watched General Hospital back then. I don't know why I did. I guess it was I know why it was, because there were a lot of girls at school that were talking about the storylines and General Hospital and Days of Our Lives and all that. So being the guy that I am, and certainly wanting to interact and have things to talk about, it only made sense. When I worked at Six Flags Over Texas, I would always make sure I took my break at 9:00 at night on Wednesdays, because that was when Dynasty was on, the nighttime soap opera. No one wanted to go eat dinner at 9:00 when you worked the night shift. I volunteered because I quickly discovered that I could go into the employee canteen where they had the TV sets, and it would be myself and about 50 or 60 girls watching Dynasty. And that was a fun conversation to have every episode talking about that. So there you go. Think smart, right? All right. 7:56. So quick. Mark saying, Were you surprised at the Tennessee Georgia football game last weekend? And then Terry Atler Jr. saying, thought Georgia would win. Yeah, nothing surprises me about Georgia football anymore. Back and forth. God, between that and the was it the Missouri? Who did Missouri play back and forth as well? Can't remember now. I give up trying to figure out these games nowadays anymore. All I know is this: my Aggies only have one SEC loss. The Longhorns only have one SEC loss. Even if the Aggies lose to Auburn next week, so we've got two, we're still in the driver's seat. We still control our own fate, I think, sort of. We could still then beat Texas, and at least then we'd create like a 20-way tie for first place or something. So yeah, we need to beat Auburn. But yeah, Tennessee, Georgia, back and forth. I just love watching football games where the fans are so passionate with the game. That game was taking place at the same time as my Aggies were playing, so I would just skip over there whenever I could to watch the game. But yeah, heck of a game. After watching Georgia and Alabama go back and forth, nothing surprises me anymore whatsoever. All right, guys, I think that's about it. It's 7:57. I got me some football to watch right now and some dinner to eat and all of that. So thank you. I hope y'all, we're a little early. We'll do one more show before Thanksgiving, but y'all tell me, send me some DMs and stuff. Let me know what y'all are doing for Thanksgiving. We'll talk about it more next week as well. I know some people still work a few days next week. Some of y'all lucky folks are off all week for school or for work, whatever. And some of us will just almost might as well be off because not as much going on. But yeah, Thanksgiving's right here around the corner. That's incredible. It's just August, a couple of weeks ago, it seems like. Anyway, guys, y'all have a fantastic week. I will be back next Monday. We'll talk all about Thanksgiving and who knows what else. Check out the Landman. Let me know what you think. Until then, and as well, if you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel. Turn on notifications. Big old thumbs up is always appreciated. Guys, y'all have a great week. I will see y'all next week. Until then, SKD143. Cheers, my friends. Bye. All right, guys, y'all have a good one. Bye.